Hey people, salams, hope you're well and in good health. Okay, today we're going to take a look at the history of the Muslim religion and how it all started. So we will check out a map here in a second, but let's just go over here and look at some text. So Islam originated in the 7th century in Mecca in modern day Saudi Arabia, with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, receiving divine revelations that form the basis of the Quran. Muslims believe Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the last in the line of prophets, including Adam, Noah, Abraham, Jesus, Moses, David, Solomon, Enoch, and so on. Following the Prophet Muhammad's death, the religion spread rapidly through various conquest, trade, and missionary work, eventually establishing empires and influencing various cultures across the globe to become one of the greatest, religions in the world. Actually, is the one and only religion, the religion of Tawheed, which means the oneness of God, starting from the Prophet Adam, peace be upon him. So Muslim basically means to submit to the will of God, which is an amazing thing. Now we believe that Islam, so Muslim started with the first human being Adam. So it's the only and true religion from the dawn of history. So you have the Abrahamic faith such as Judaism and Christianity. So we believe, for example, Jesus, Moses, Abraham were all Muslims as well, because Muslim just simply means to submit to the will of God. But each different prophet came to, his kind of community or tribe in a specific area throughout history, and their Sharia, so their law, was for those people at that time. However, the difference was that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So when we say Muhammad, we say peace be upon him as a sign of respect. And when we refer to other prophets like Jesus, Solomon, we also say peace be upon them as well. So the Prophet Muhammad, the difference was that when he came as a universal message. His message, the Holy Quran, was the end of the prophethood, and it was basically a message for the whole of human history, for the whole of mankind universally. So let's take a quick look here at this map. So you can see here on this map, on Britannica, this is a map of Saudi Arabia. At the time of the Prophet, peace upon him, I think it was called Jazirat al-Arab, so Arabia. And then later on, with the Saud family conquering this region, it became Saudi Arabia. Now, if you just bring it down here, so let's see what countries surround Saudi Arabia. So you've got Yemen, south, and then southeast is Oman, and then east of Arabia is the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Dubai. Obviously, you've all heard of Dubai. You've got Qatar, Bahrain, across the Persian Gulf. You can see where it says Shiraz. You've got Iran, Persian Empire. So northeast, you've got Kuwait, and to the north, you've got Iraq, you've got Oman, Jordan, Egypt, more towards the western side, Egypt, the Red Sea, and so on, Palestine, and then you can see the rest of Egypt here in between the Red Sea. So this is the same Red Sea what the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, split when his tribes crossed over, escaping the Pharaoh. So here is the city of Mecca, so it's also known as Makkah. This is the same city where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born. So let's take a look here. So the early life of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So the Prophet was born in 570 CE in Mecca, a city of trade, so lots of business, commerce, and also religious significance. It was here that merchants, were selling, trading, doing business, and this is where the Prophet, peace be upon him, started to receive the initial revelations in 610 CE. So he was aged around 40 at the time, and the Prophet had a lot of family here, so he was part of the Quraysh tribe. He was brought up by his uncle and cousins and other family members because he became an orphan at a young age. His father passed away before he was born. His name was Abdullah, and then his mother passed away when he was a young age. So he became an orphan, and he was looked after by his family, his uncle, and so on. And then you can see after about when he became 40 and he started to receive the revelation and telling people about the Islamic faith and the call to one God, the oneness of God, the faith of Islam. He preached for about 13 years, and then after that he had to leave his homeland of Mecca and migrate, which is called the Hijrah. So in 622 CE, Muhammad peace be upon him and his followers migrated from Mecca to Medina, formerly known as Yathrib, due to persecution. So the Quraysh pagan tribes, they were persecuting the Prophet and his small group of followers. So they had to leave to escape the persecution. And that day is also when the Islamic calendar begun. So the Muslims migrated from Mecca to Medina. So let's take a look at the map. So there's Mecca. So north, so directly north, straight there, you can see the city of Medina. Having been to both cities, absolutely amazing places. So when Western tourists or when people from the West, for example, the UK, flying to perform Umrah Hajj pilgrimage, they fly into Jeddah and then jump on a taxi here to Mecca. It's about an hour and a half drive. From Medina there, and a taxi is about three and a quarter hours, so nearly 4 hours drive from Mecca to Medina. You can There is an airport in Medina as well, so you can fly into Medina and exit there as well. But the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, he exited Mecca and then he moved into Medina. It was called Yathrib before, and then the Prophet, peace upon him, set up his mosque here and his followers in the city of Medina for some years before they came back to Mecca in the conquest of Mecca and took it back, cleared the holy Kaaba of pagan idols, and then took over the city there peacefully. And then Islam spread throughout all this region here. You can see all the different cities of Saudi Arabia, and then all the way into the east there, the south. So the original Arabs, as they're known as Yemen. So you can see that one of the Prophet Abraham's son, peace upon him, Ishmael, was brought up by people from the Yemenese tribes, because in Mecca we had the Kaaba, which is an ancient house of worship, which was built, they say, by the Prophet Adam, peace be upon him. But the Prophet Abraham also left his child Ishmael and his mother here when he came, according to a command from God. And then this is where they came across Yemenese tribes, and they basically settled here. Now, Islam also spread them across into other areas like Iraq, Iran, Jordan, Palestine, Egypt, and so on. So after that, the early Muslim community started in Medina. The Prophet Muhammad established the first Muslim communities there, the governance, the mosques, different systems there. He unified the tribes there as well, slowly until the conquest of Mecca in 630 CE. Islam spread pretty fast after the Prophet passed away in 632 CE. Islam spread rapidly through different means like trade, conquest, missionary work, dawah, and so on. And then this led to the Rashiduni Caliphate, starting in 632, when up to about 661 and subsequent empires. So there were four first kind of caliphs. So you had the Prophet's companions, you had Abu Bakr, you had Hazrat Uthman, you had Umar, and you had Hazrat Ali, blessing on them. They were the first four caliphs, and then it started to split up after that. Yeah, you had then the split with the Shia and Sunni and so on. Various Islamic empires spread out throughout the world. So you had the rise of powerful dynasties like the Umayyad Empire from 661 to 750, Abbasid from 750 to 1258, the Ottoman empires, the Safavids, Mughal Empire in the Indian subcontinent, and so on. Then you had the Islamic Golden Era in places like Andalusia in Spain. So Muslims ruled Spain for over 7 centuries, or well over 700 years. They brought so many things there, like irrigation, art, science, philosophy, culture, style, and that was, a great scientific golden age for Muslims. They create so many things, set up so many things, which you won't believe right now, but that's a video for another time. And then you had later, in more modern contemporary times, you had European powers who undertook colonialism, brutal kind of empire building, attacking places like India and other places like Egypt and so on. That impacted Muslim majority societies a lot, led to decline, resistance, reform movements, and so on. And yeah, that leads us to today in the modern world, where we now have, according to the Pew Research Centre, over 2 billion Muslims. For example, in the UK, there's 4 plus million Muslims, around about 6%. Generally, around the world, there's a couple of billion second in terms of followers after Christianity. So that's a quick overview video of how Islam started and the Muslim religion started in the Middle East, in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, how it spread, who the Prophet Muhammad was. Very basic overview just so you can get a basic understanding. If you do have any questions, drop it in the comment section below. Check out the links in the description. You can now join the channel. It just costs $3.99 a month. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one.